Hey! Hello, everyone. How we doing today? Thank you for joining me here. I don't have my camera enabled. Give me 2 seconds. Oopsie. Assuming this is a video capture device. Let's see. Oh my gosh, there it goes. What the H? Got no signal on my... Whoa. Stick that over there. That's weird. I swear, I don't know if anyone else has been having weird issues with Zoom meetings, but I swear it has all my hardware donked. Hello, hello. Let's see if we can figure out why this isn't working. When in doubt, unplug it, plug it back in. It's also been a while since I restarted my computer. It doesn't like that very much. Oh. Also, am I unplugging the right thing? I think so. Yes, I am. Oof. Let's try that. Come on, baby. I know you can do it. It was just working yesterday. And I don't know why it wouldn't be now. But honestly, that's okay if it doesn't. Hello, Nope Bye. That's my friend Rob. Hello, Corrupted Slime. Hello, Hazard. Thank you for joining me. What the H is going on with this thing? There we go. Hello, everybody. Oh, it's all tiny now. Woo! There we are. Hello, hello, hello. That's a little big. Let's make that just a teensy bit tinier. Anyway, thank you for joining me here. Today's going to be pretty chill. We're just going to be walking around in the world. If you guys have questions about where the project's at, I'm happy to answer them. It's still very much a work in progress, so please keep that in mind as we go forward. We can kind of run through some of the stuff that's currently installed. As you can see here, we've got approximately 392, well, exactly 392, but, you know, a mod can be anything from a little patch to like a full-on mod. 392 mods in the install. Connor, hello, how you doing? Right now, in order to hit that, or not hit that plugin limit, we've got quite a few things disabled, just kind of non-essential things so that I can get, you know, my testing done. But as we go through, there's going to be a lot of stuff. The special edition version is still very much in the design phase where I'm kind of experimenting with a lot of different ideas and mods, which you guys will get to see. So without further ado, let's go ahead and fire it up. Hope everyone's staying safe as can be in this very extreme, historic time. Look what I got. Oh, camera's over there. My beautiful 2-liter of cola. 2 liter? 1 liter? This is 1 liter. It is 2 liters. Well, there you go. Effia says, questions, A. Where do Skyrim babies come from? I mean, to be honest, I couldn't tell you. There are no Skyrim babies. There's practically no children. There's a mod that adds children to things like bandit camps. Definitely something I've thought of adding. Gets pretty gnarly though. I wouldn't really be super comfortable adding that in until there's like a reliable way to not have to kill everyone, until there's non-lethal options. Just because the kids are also hostile. So it's like if you have a little, you know, like a 10-year-old coming at you with a knife. It's like, what are you supposed to do? The only option you have is to kill him. You can see how quickly the game starts up. It's still faster than my Legendary Edition install, but it's pretty slow, especially if it's the first time I've launched it in a while. There's a lot of stuff going in. Probably the first thing I'm going to show off would be the major cities. I I've been working real hard on getting them to look nice and just kind of finding a balance of textures that I feel is appropriate and also, that looks really good. Hazard says, got no glass. Big bottle. There's glasses in the kitchen, and you know what? I was just too lazy. Just grabbed it and went for it. I'm the only one who drinks the Diet Coke. Liz doesn't really drink it. F yeah, haha, I can imagine a jumped up 10-year-old running at you yelling, I'll carve you into pieces. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what would happen. What mod is that? We can find it later. Adds like a bunch of children into various factions that don't normally have them. Because it's a little weird that, you have these essentially bandit societies and none of them have any sort of children. Oh, something we're going to notice is that a lot of the characters are have the blackface bug, which there's got to be a better name for that. And right here, the vanilla hair replacers are what we need to install or check to get rid of that, or at least a fair degree of it. I made the decision at one point to get rid of any vanilla hair in the game. Like, nobody will have the default hairstyles because I frankly just think they look not good. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. Hold up. I'm going to take my little monitor and put it over here. Beastie says, will this include UNP or CBBE? For those of you who don't know, those are body presets. Most likely not by default, Beastie. The reason for that is that there will likely be a very large amount of characters compared to the old version of Skyrim. We've got pretty populated cities. We've got a lot of travelers on the roads. From my testing, having those... I only tested CBBE, to be fair. But having those things in there really impacted the frame rate because there's so many vertices on those body types. Obviously, that's what they're for, is to make the bodies look very realistic, or realistic in a sense. So I don't know, like, that stuff doesn't really matter to me all that much. There's not going to be any nude mods either. Like, when you take off people's armor and stuff, it's not gonna have them... Whoa, that looks weird. What the heck? Why is the aspect ratio all messed up? Is it like that for you guys too? Or is this just some sort of weird bug on my... Oh, this looks strange. Weird. Alright, well, let's give it a restart real fast. That'll give us a chance to turn on the vanilla hair replacer face gens, and we'll see if that fixes some of the blackface bugs. It's such a strange name. I mean, it's accurate. Sort of. Alright, so if we pop these bad boys in, there's still going to be probably a fair bit. Do those have plugins? Oh, shit, they do. Okay, so that is going to... Well, let's see what happens. It might overwrite some of the character edits. In this kind of build that I'm running, there's really no real conflict resolution done yet. That will happen once I've kind of finalized the layout or the configuration of mods, which ones I'm going to be using. So balancing plugins. Oh, it's actually not going to run. Guys, I'm sorry. My brain is half working. Unless, oh, you know what? These might be marked ESL. They are. Okay, so it should still run. God, that is the best. If there's one thing that I am most happy about switching over to Special Edition, it might be the ESL plugins, the ones that, allow you to have a plugin but not have it count towards the limit. It's really nice because merging plugins is not fun. It just kind of creates a technical debt and a what's the word? Like a notation or documentation nightmare. It's just not fun. I Glush Wreck. Damn, either way, I don't have SC for now. Corrected username was Beastie. Gotcha. Alright, well, this, hopefully, it might have gone wonky because I alt-tabbed. Hey, Peon, how you doing? JS Brando says, too many dependencies when you want to change, too. Too many dependencies when you want to change. Oh, you're talking about with a merged plugin. Yeah, it sucks. That's a problem that we really ran into with Ultimate Skyrim's original plugin, which is a real shame because when you have a plugin that has that many dependencies, trying to load it into the creation kit is just a nightmare. Here, I'm going to put this over here so it's more like I'm kind of talking straight to you guys. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it sucks. And there, I try to stay out of the creation kit as much as possible just because the majority of my work doesn't require it. But there are some things that you can only do in the creation kit. And like I can't even, right now, the old LE version of Skyrim cannot even be loaded into the creation kit. Anything that I do there has to be created in a separate plugin and then kind of handled after the fact. Which is also super problematic for like certain tasks, weird ones, things like assigning voice lines to NPCs. It's just like, it's very strange. I mean, I'm far from the first person to say how strange the creation kit can be, but it is. Come on. This is why I also have a testing profile on Mod Organizer. Hey Ring, how you doing? It's just like you load in all these texture mods, it takes so long. It's unfortunate, but it's how it's gotta be. Let's see, FES says, so are you able to summarize briefly what the SE version has enabled you to do that Old Rim was not able to do? Requiem is still the basis, right? Yeah, sure. Well, so Requiem will be the basis, absolutely. It's not in here right now because that's kind of my last real task, right, is kind of plopping Requiem in there. It's just a systems overhaul, essentially, right? So that'll be... I'm kind of trying to wait as long as I can and take care of as many things as I can in the meantime in the hopes that the official Requiem Special Edition version will come out, or at the very least the last version that's going to be on Legendary Edition, because that's supposed to be their basis for the Special Edition port. And if I can get a hold of that. Otherwise, if it gets to the point where I have to start doing Requiem stuff, I'll just use the current unofficial port as kind of my basis and then do the work of switching it over. Regarding the... much better. Regarding the... Let's start a new one, just to make sure our plugins are okay. And we'll see what that... the vanilla hair replacer does. Also, these load screens are something that I'm kind of testing out at the moment to see how I feel about them. I think they're kind of nice, but we'll see. To answer your question of what Special Edition has enabled me to do. So probably, it's really a lot. Special Edition has been just, frankly, incredible for general performance and stability. I would say the biggest thing, like probably the biggest in-game change, is that Special Edition just allows for way, way more stuff to be on screen at once. Like a lot more static objects and a lot more characters and just things in the world to load in. From what I understand, this is a byproduct of Special Edition's much more efficient allocation of resources compared to Legendary Edition. So it really allows you to put a lot of stuff into the game that you just could not get away with in Legendary Edition. Things like, city overhauls. You can still get the frame rate pretty, low, and you'll see some of that here. But it's just, there's just so much more. So it really allows me to add just insane levels of detail to every location. It allows for things like, interesting NPCs, or like the populated series of mods where NPCs are traveling on the roads and getting into fights with each other and doing things dynamically in the world, like going off to, investigate ruins on their own and so on. And just all kinds of stuff like that. So that's been my favorite thus far, is just being able to really jam-pack everything. Oh, I should have turned off the... the little option that allows you to remove any headgear. But you know what I'm going to do? Let's go ahead. Oh, let's see. Peon says, I never liked the original Skyrim load screens. Always seem half-finished being like that. I really agree, Peon, and that's why I kind of opted to maybe use this one instead. I think that no matter what I do, if I end up going with that kind of stylized load screen, you know, then the problem's solved. But even if I don't, I'll be just kind of submitting screenshots, I think. I think that the whole 3D object and smoke in the background is always kind of iffy, and a lot of the time the objects that show up in those load screens don't utilize like texture, improved textures, because they're not mapped properly for that, so it's just kind of like a weird thingy. Let's see what we got. That was one fast load. Doesn't look like Helgen. It's muddy. That's probably because of the... Well, we'll go and check out Helgen if you want. You can kind of see how it looks. What ENB are you using? Looks great. This is a customized version of Rudy ENB ring. Rudy ENB, as far as I can tell, is really kind of the big boss when it comes to special edition. It's really kind of the most advanced one out there, as far as I can tell. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it Imperial. I'm gonna make it into a lady, because they have the best hair options. You can see we have, as of right now, what is this? 874 different hair options for customizing your characters, sort of. Some of these are, I think, the same. Like, for example, you can see in the bottom right, it'll tell you what plugin these are from. Although, really, that's only one from Koyama. So you're going to see our hair kind of clipping through. So what we'll do is this. Get one that we think will look good. Let's see, KS hairdos, fantastic. This one's kind of cool. Where is it? No, where'd it go? There's so many, it's so easy to go past them. I'm feeling something shorter. Little bangs. This one looks almost like, let's see what our character's name will be. Let's see here. Ring says it looks much warmer than it does in LE. It's definitely dirtier. It's a little grimier. That may have been the depth of field. Very possible. Because we do have the native depth. Oh, that's another really... Before I get ahead of myself. Her name is going to be Dupis. Dupis the Imperial. I'm going to keep going. One of the really cool things that Special Edition has allowed me to do, it's these two particular features. One is, they're both native versions of stuff that you would normally find in EMBs. One is depth of field, and two is anti-aliasing in the form of tessellation anti-aliasing, I believe it's called. So you have just much, God, right here, much better. It's a little loud. Let me know if you guys can still hear me too, if my audio is appropriate. Otherwise, I can take the other volume down. Special Edition includes this native option for both depth of field and anti-aliasing. I have Dynavision here handling the depth of field. So we're actually going to turn this off for now. But you can still kind of tell how it is working, even if it's quote-unquote off. One of the main things is that it actually will reduce the visibility while you're underwater like this, which is really nice. Am I walking? Oh, for a second I thought I was walking. Which is really cool, I thought, because I really wanted the underwater sequences to... what's the word? When you don't have any sort of depth of field enabled, these underwater sections, you have total clarity, right? And it's just very kind of disorienting. So this allows us to get this really nice effect where there is a legitimate visibility problem. And that's important because there's going to be a lot of stuff to find underwater. And a lot of exploring to be done. You can see we have these beautiful kind of plant graphics from Depths of Skyrim, which is really nice because that's an area of the game that it really feels unfinished in the base game, I think. Interesting start. Let's see what we got. Effia says, how are you meant to scroll through that? It becomes really friggin' hard to scroll over like 40. Talking about the hairs. If you're trying to do it with your mouse, it's pretty tough. I would opt for the arrow keys. There's a lot of options. Effie says you're harder to hear now with Skyrim running. That wind is loud. That is, well, hopefully here. Let's do this. Helps a little bit. Look at that sunset. Anyway, yeah, getting back on topic of what I was saying, the anti-aliasing is, of course, a real performance hog for most games, or it can be, and the native anti-aliasing in Special Edition is actually really good. It's a little bit of a trade-off because some people don't like the fuzziness that it creates, quote-unquote, which I understand, but to me, after testing many different options, it's by far and large the best looking versus the performance. And then, of course, the depth of field is really nice as well. They're just kind of like very visually effective and still performance-friendly implementations of these normally very performance-heavy features. Ring says, never been a fan of depth of field, I always disable it. So when I say depth of field, I don't mean the kind of what they call the dynamic depth of field, where you kind of go up close to an object like this and then it, you know, fades out in the background. I think that can look good, but more often than not, I find it much better for things like screen archery. For actual gameplay, it's a little disorienting. Oh, baby. Nice. Kill moves will most likely be off in the final build as they are in Legendary. That's what I thought this haircut would look like. Very cool. Digging it. There's really a lot of options for hairstyles that I think look really, really nice. Let's see what we got. President Athena, excuse me. Hi, BB. Glad I can finally catch a stream. Looks gorgeous. Thank you very much, Athena. Glowshrek says, looks so good. Thank you. Please thank the modders. So, as far as textures go, a lot of the landscape textures you're going to be seeing are Skyland. There's a lot of Skyland textures in here. The cities, you got majestic mountains kind of going here. These trees, as of right now, are enhanced vanilla trees. I believe these snow trees in particular were from Vert's overhaul, Skyrim Floor overhaul, so those should look familiar to your guys. Let's see here. Damn, is that volumetric? If you're talking about the underwater graphics, I don't actually think so. I think it's some sort of approximation of volumetric graphics, although there are volumetric weathers in the game, thanks to Obsidian, which is what we are running right now and will most likely run for the final build. Bodenreimer, dude, I love your voice, bro. Thank you very much. Peon says the blurry looking effect from TAA, the tessellation, can be negated with some extra sharpness. That's good to know. Let's see. What's your take on HDT physics? Will it make an appearance? So if it does, I would really like it to, but not for things like boobies and butts, which really, I mean, I've seen them, I've messed around with them. It's a lot more funny than it is realistic to me, especially when you have people wearing armor, or like they'll have steel armors like a gambeson or something, and you've got these like floppy boobies going around. And of course, if I'm not running CBBE or anything like that, those wouldn't work anyway. What I would like the physics for are hairstyles and equipment. I find that effect is really nice when you can see your character's hair kind of moving around, like the ponytails that some of the female hairs have. It's a really nice small touch that adds a lot to the immersion. However, those physics frameworks are very performance intensive, and especially in cities where you have, or even on the roads where you have tons of characters now who are all getting this, you know, kind of physics. Even when you enable it only for the player, it's still a very major performance impact, and so that one would be pretty quick up on the chopping block to not be included. It's not enabled right now, for sure. Peon says Skyland is my favorite. Skyland is really good. There's a lot of really incredible textures in there. I have a lot of different texture mods that are very particularly edited. I've really gone through to try and create like a particular look for most of the areas in the game. A lot of the exterior locations, like where we are now, have not gotten as much attention as like the cities, but they will eventually. The cities have gotten a ton of attention. I'm very particular when it comes to textures and most things, really. And I really wanted to make the cities, really give them a certain feel, and just make sure that, you know, materials looked proper and like they fit within the world, and like you really could have seen these materials in these regions and things of that sort. Corrupted Slime, glad you're using Depths of Skyrim, covers the long uncovered aspect of the game. I agree. Oop. Someone fighting? Yes, no? I want physics for cloaks. Yes, I forgot cloaks. I guess you can count that as equipment. You can see, I'm trying to remember what my... There's a couple landscape textures, like, for, oops, someone got murked. For, like, the roads and stuff that just look absolutely amazing. I believe they're Skyland, but I think I popped something else in there, too, lately. I need to go and check on that. Go ahead and see. Hello? Please don't kill me. There's not a whole lot of creature retextures or anything of that sort yet. Also, just keep in mind, this is going to be a little choppier, even on what you guys are seeing, because of my streaming, than it is in the main game. Or when I'm not streaming, rather. Let's see here. Never used HDT before. Wonder if it hurts performance much. It does, really. Maybe the capes alone aren't so bad. I haven't tried that. But I'd have to test it out. I know that when you have the hair running, it can be very intense. Also, something worth noting is that there's no generation of LODs currently in this build, what you're seeing. So if we look off into the distance and things look a little smeary and not so great, that would be why. JS Brando, you should have two options for builds. One for performance-heavy machines and one for lighter machines, which can't handle the full build. So that's actually something that I do plan on doing, JS Brando, is creating specific builds. Oh, we got a battle up ahead. Creating builds for just performance options, just depending on what people have going on. So it's like one of the immersive controls battles. Okay, there's also the weapon sound that people get hit with is not final. That's because there's no combat associated. You guys having fun? Alright, see you later. Let's see. Sunrise sunset looks sweet. Looking directly at sun in some games sort of hurts my eyes, and holding US2 is the same here. I don't think God Rays does that. Well, we can go ahead and check. Here. Let's go ahead and set... Oh, here. You guys can see what the nighttime looks like. Let's go ahead and wait for 2 hours. We're in the frozen north here where we get these nice blue auroras, which are just really beautiful. And it's really nice the way it all lights up. Hey Tyler, how you doing? Peon says, Dylan, have you checked out Dynamic Animation Replacer? Some really neat stuff I've seen using that animation framework. Yes, I have that actually on my list, Peon. That very likely will make it into the final build, depending on what I'll be using with it. Looks like we're kind of wandering into the Morthal swamps here. It's a nice ice texture, of course. But your voice gets super quiet whenever something is happening in game, whether it be battle or weather. Alright, I can go ahead. Unfortunately, I'm a little nervous as to what will happen if I Alt-Tab out, because right now I have it running in full screen. It probably would have been smart to turn on borderless full screen. But let me go ahead and see. I will Alt-Tab here. And let's take the desktop audio and bring it down quite a bit. Oh shit, you know what? While I'm doing this, let me and see. Don't try this at home, folks. Don't unlock Mod Organizer while you're actually running the game. But I'm doing that because I want to. Where is my Depths of Skyrim? Not you. I gotta run up. I have these kind of loosely organized. You can see there's a lot of mathy stuff in here. Skyrim 3 landscapes as well. Where are my... Here you go. So here we have these, I would say. So you got Blended Roads. That's more of a mesh, obviously, an edit. Mysterious Dawn's HD Skyrim Overhaul, Underground, Texture Overhaul, Osmodeus texture pack, which is really just fantastic in a lot of ways. But so all of these texture packs are very selectively in. Oh my god, I just ran a second instance of Skyrim. That's why you don't unlock it. Uh-oh. Is it just gonna put me back into this one? What's happening here? What have we done? What have I done? Oh, there we go. Hopefully it does not actually run a second instance of Skyrim. But we'll see in a second. Alright, let's go ahead and game hour to... We want to look at the sunset, right? See how bright it is. So let's try 19. There we go. It's a little too early. Try 17. Oh, here's some nice volumetric fog. Very spooky. Let's see. There you go. That's about how bright it gets. You know, it's pretty bright. I wouldn't stare right into the sun. Definitely not a good idea. One time I stared into an eclipse for, well, not really stared. I looked at it without any sort of protection, and it really hurt my eyes and had left kind of a lasting impact. So I don't recommend doing that. Let's go to Riverwood real fast, and we'll check out some of the texturing and the environments. Also, you guys let me know how the stream quality does. We've been having major problems with our internet lately. It's frank. I mean, I know there's really not a whole lot that they can do about it because there's such a huge load. Why am I getting 21 frames per second? Did I actually start a second instance of Skyrim? I hope not. Or does streaming really just make that much of an... Because normally these areas are like 50, 60 FPS. I mean, it's going to be frame intensive because there's a lot going on, but it's much better than what you're seeing here. Well, whatever. You guys can check it out. So I think these landscape textures are really fantastic. Oh, that's what it was. It's frickin'... the farmhouses, the person who does the farmhouses, I'm going to hate myself if I forget their name because their texture work on so many different things is just fantastic. What's the person who does a farmhouse retexture and there's 2 letters in their name? I can't remember, but whoever they are, it's like not KD or something, maybe with a Q. I can't remember. No, not JK. JK is responsible for this. Actually, this is not JK. This is ETAC. But JK does a lot of, you know, town and village edits, but he's not a retexturer, really. What did I miss here? Can I ask about what extra content you plan to include in this build? You had Worm's Tooth, Undeath, anything you can tell us. So both of those will still be in the game just because we have, or should still be. Anything that I say here really is subject to change. But, oh. Sorry, my migraines have been not fantastic lately. Those 2 should still make it in because we kind of have work already done, you know, in the previous version to build them in. I wouldn't expect a whole lot in the way of extra content when... Oh my god. What is happening here? Hey, bud. This is one of the improved roads cows. Farmers will kind of travel around the roads, you know, offloading their goods. I don't think he's supposed to be there. But, you know, he doesn't look too upset about it. I wouldn't expect a whole lot in the way of new content in the initial builds. That is something I'd really like to do in the future. My eventual, like, what I'd really like to do, excuse me, is throw in, you know, the quest mods that really make the cut, or just kind of like edit them to kind of match the quality standard that we aim for. When I say quality, that sounds... It's so hard to do a large scale quest mod as either a singular person or a small team, right? Most of them are very well done, or a lot of them are very well done, and so I'd like to get those in there and then just make the kind of ultimate Skyrim edits that really bring it in line with everything else. What I would really, really like to do one day is integrate beyond Skyrim so that you really have this like larger world to explore and to exist in. And I know the Beyond Skyrim team is doing amazing things, and they have a large enough team to where I think it's actually feasible. So we'll see how that goes. That's obviously a long way off, but I would really like to do that. Let's see. JS says latency appears mostly fine so far. Awesome. Thank you. Riverwood has always been frame intensive for me. Are there any nice mods from OGUS that you wanted and aren't there for SE? There are a couple, but honestly, not really. Most everything that I've wanted for Special Edition either has already been there or it's had alternatives kind of ready to go. Some of the big ones that I was kind of sad to not have were Thieves Guild requirements, Carlia's as a follower was at Nightingale Hall. Both of those are Cryptoper. Oh, here you go. Blackface. Who are you? Populated cities. Gotcha. Those are not, the fixes for that are not in there yet. So that's what they look like if they don't have proper face gens. Here you can see this is what Alvor would look like with the different vanilla hair, right? One thing that I do plan on doing is going through and actually the texturing on the hair here is the Salt and Wind, which is really nice work. It's just not the style that I prefer, so I'll be replacing those textures manually to the defaults. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so a couple of Cryptoper's Thieves Guild related mods were big ones that I was sad not to have, and then another one was SV mods, you know, the different crimes, more punishable crimes. And both of those are now getting ports. Cryptoper actually is I'm a patron of hers, and so I am hoping to help test the new version of Thieves Guild requirements, along with the integration that she's doing with Thieves Guild for Good Guys, or whatever the name is. So that's very exciting. Those are all really... So there are more content mods in that sense. There's a lot of expansion of quests and quest lines, a lot of expansion of options that you have in those veins, just not quite so much brand new areas to explore, but hopefully those will come in the future. Let me see here. Will the next build be released on Special Edition, or are there still releases to be done on Old Rim? Everything will be Special Edition from here on out, Glass, excluding any sort of maintenance that we have to do. Oh, hello. Don't just attack travelers on the roadside, my guy. Oh, what the hell? Where did he go? Man, this guy's got some sort of blink step. He's better than I thought. Oof. Gotcha, baby. So yeah, there's not a whole lot yet in here in the way of like armor and weapon retextures. There's not a whole lot of creature retextures yet. Those are all coming. Whiterun off in the distance. Let's get some daytime in here. There's an Argonian and Riverwood, and oh, what about the Bruma mod? See, Bruma would be right up there for the kind of stuff that I would like to add to. Let's go flat noon. There we go. Kind of a foggy day, a little bit. Any plans for adding Legacy of the Dragonborn? That is a big... I shouldn't say a maybe. I like what it purports to do. I've really never played with it myself. It's on par with something like Dark End or Beyond Skyrim Bruma in terms of how large it is and how difficult it would be to integrate. So I would count it in the same vein as those. But I mean, if I ever got the chance to play it and see, how it plays, I really like the idea of giving players more reasons to explore. So we'll go ahead and see. Fuck, what is the name of that texture mod? Because these are all their textures. It's like LD farmhouses or something like that. What's up, guys? Boom. Nice. Is that Rhea? Yes. Yep. You didn't look like you needed my house. My house? My help. Guys, my brain really is on the fritz. Is that so? If you're keeping interesting NPCs and or Lucian / Inigo, those are all technically really large content mods. That is true, Peon. So that is an area that I've actually focused on a lot, is characters and just really adding more depth to these locations through interesting characters to encounter. So interesting NPCs. There's a lot of follower mods going in. They all do a really good job of making these places feel lived in and, you know, real, in my opinion. Check out these tint masks. Look at this boy. Nice tan, my friend. Let's see. Oh, Anordil, how you doing, man? I'm looking on the site. Can't find if you're replacing Requiem for something else in SE. Unfortunate. Oh, yeah. Sorry, JS Brando. I can see now we're getting streaming pauses. If you're, I can see it dropping frames on my thing. That's not good. MDs. Yes, that is it. JS Brando. Thank you. That was what I was trying. So MDs textures is responsible for like these landscape textures, these rocks. I've let those ones handle a lot because they're really good. So there's a combination between that, I think Mysterious Dawn, or no, that is Mysterious Dawn, is MDs. So the Mysterious Dawn textures, the Skyland textures kind of work in conjunction with each other. I also have Osmodius working in there, and there are many 4 a.m. nights kind of I would have like all 3 or 4 different texture mods open looking at the variants that each one brings to the table for the same textures, especially for cities, just to, you know, kind of try and find the ones that fit. And I'm pretty happy with where they are now. You guys can go ahead and see what Whiterun looks like. Let's see. Oh, okay, so regarding Requiem, there is no way that it's getting replaced. That is, Requiem is the game to me. Or at least, you know, if, I don't know, if something else ever came along that made the game as amazing as I feel Requiem does, then, you know, I could evaluate it then, but I've just never seen it. It's just... And I've never played with Enei's like larger scale perk overhauls, which I'm sure just with the quality of the rest of Enei's mods, I'm sure they're amazing. But Requiem is just, it's my jam, you know? MDs is correct. See, Effia, what are your thoughts on 3 tweaks? So it's another thing that I have not played with. That's a Noob in Disguise's mod, I believe, right? And, I mean, a Noob in Disguise is a professional. He or she or they definitely knows what they're doing when it comes to Requiem and design. And I know there are some things that the mod does that I think are really cool for vanilla Requiem, the main one being the Potions of Insight, right? And how it kind of changes the leveling system in that way. I probably for Ultimate Skyrim, in the long run, I have kind of my own ideas as to how leveling should work and how these kind of systems would work in like 3 tweaks builds off of Requiem's base, where the point of playing is that you are an adventurer and that's pretty much guaranteed to what you are going to become as an adventurer who goes out and quests and kills things and so on and so forth, which is why you can have that Potion of Insight system where you find potions out in the world and that's what your character's leveling is tied to. Ultimate Skyrim is more of a life sim and kind of leans in that direction, so that, you know, adventuring is something you can do. It's not necessarily what you have to do. And so our leveling system will probably be a little bit different, but, you know, depending on what other tweaks it brings, it could make it in, or, you know, you never know, I suppose you could say. Holy shit, Whiterun looks amazing. Thank you very much, Glushrek. Thank the texture artists, and we got... So the cities are really cool, in my opinion. We'll go ahead and take a walk through Whiterun here. Also, God, So a lot of people like to say that the ENBs on Special Edition are not quite as fully featured as the ones on Legendary Edition. I think in a very technical sense, this is true. There are some additional features that you can get on ENBs that you can't get on Special Edition, but I still think it looks just absolutely amazing. The kind of... You can see like this wetness that gets applied dynamically to everything. People's, you know, kind of armors and the ground, and just the specular that comes off of textures completely automatically. Of course, the automatic rain occlusion where we're no longer getting wet because we're standing underneath, you know, an awning or whatever it is. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the weather right now so you guys can kind of get a look here. Take a look-see. For all of the city textures, Yes, ring. The guard's skin was wet from the rain. Let's see. If Enai gave his special perks to NPCs, then it would be very interesting. I mean, I don't. Enai's attitude towards, using his mods, like integrating them, he's extremely open, like with his permissions. And, I don't think we've ever really seen like a major kind of integration or mashup of, the perk overhauls of something like Requiem and also Enai's mods. I believe Ordinator is his current kind of top one. So I don't know what that would look like exactly. I think he would be personally interested to see, just like what, if my kind of take on his attitudes are correct. But we will have other Enai mods in the install, most likely, things like Winter Sun and probably Andromeda. So after a fashion, we'll kind of get to see what kind of an Enai implementation and philosophy looks like when mashed up with Requiem in that way. Of course, Requiem is a lot more than just perks. I would argue that perhaps the coolest, most central feature of Requiem is its de-leveled world, and that's, kind of allowing Requiem to really handle the nuts and bolts of how the game works on a fundamental level, and adding Enai's really fun like toys on top of that, to me, feels like the best implementation, so we'll see. Glass says that rain shelter was something I could never get to work correctly. That looks great. There's also AZ tweaks on SSE now as well. That's very true. AZ, I think, is very similar to 3 tweaks in that it really kind of builds upon that adventurer foundation that Requiem establishes. AZ is always something that I've kept an eye on for a very long time. Is it Blackface Day and Whiterun Hold or something? So what you're going to see here, what's up, Ayala, is like any of these NPCs, these are mostly, oh, this guy's got a lowercase name. That's a bug that sometimes happens that really can't be fixed, which is unfortunate. It is raining again. So a lot of the time, if you clear the weather, the game is still trying to implement certain weather for this time of day and whatever day. So you can clear it, but then it'll just try and put it right back. That happens a lot in Falkreath. I'll just leave it for now. As you can see, this guy, lots more followers. Most of the characters that are going to have these black faces are the ones that we don't have the updated face gens installed for. Whereas these guys are, this is probably just a vanilla guard. Yep. So they're looking all good. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at... The reason I wanted to clear the weather is because it shows off the texture art a little bit more clearly. You can kind of see how everything looks. Beautiful, beautiful. Real nice. One of the things I would very much like to show off... Oh, I started to say this. God, I get so scrambled with just all the things I want to talk about and, answering your guys' questions. As you guys can imagine, I spend a lot of time working on this. It's my full-time job. And so when I haven't gotten to talk about it with you guys in a while, it's like a word vomit comes flying out. Things I want to show you guys to remind me later if I forget. I want to show you what the taverns look like at night when they're all nice and full. And I want to show you a little bit of the sewers and the outlaw refuges, which I think are a really, really cool new feature that we'll talk about. See, Skyrim always wanting to rain. Andromeda, is that for races or birth signs? I believe Andromeda is the birth signs. Yes, the races. Yes, it is birth signs because the races is Imperious. I don't believe we'll be using Imperious. Some of those areas, Hazard and I have talked about kind of marrying the SNBCJ mods and kind of letting them take precedent in some areas. In other areas, we have a combo of Enai's mods plus SNBCJ's edits, and then in other areas, the Enai mods kind of take precedent, and that's from us kind of evaluating what each one brings to the table and kind of where each one should allow the other one to function, and so on and so forth. Effia says, do you have any plans to try and expand the options you have for combat? What I mean is that if you want to play an illusion mage, then either you can either use invisibility and stab stuff, or spam hibernation spray and nightmare. It gets kind of samey. Are you able to expand combat options beyond that? So most definitely. As to what will make it into the initial build, I can't say for sure, but combat is something that I am very interested in. I think that for me, it's like, what's a good way of putting this? what I'm trying to build here is very much, a life sim, a world simulator, right? And a big part of a world like this is combat. I really think that combat is what kind of is the context for a lot of what's enjoyable about the game. That includes like exploration or just a million different things you can do. Most of them involve combat, or a lot of them involve combat in some way. So I'm always looking for ways to expand Skyrim's combat in a meaningful and enjoyable way, because it's obviously a little samey, or a little limited, we'll say. Requiem already does a great job in and of itself, I think. But in addition to that, ways that I would like to kind of further things along is by adding a lot of toys through things like new spells. Apocalypse, that's Enai's spells mod, will probably make it in. It's pretty likely, even if some spells need to be tweaked or kind of disabled. So you get new toys that way. You get a lot of new toys through passives, with things like, your race and your birth sign and things of that nature. But obviously, I don't think you're talking about passives when it comes to combat. Passives do have an impact, but they still don't fundamentally change what you're directly doing in combat. And so in that vein, beyond things like spells and stuff like that, what I would really, really like to do eventually is lean into new animations, things like animated armory that allow different types of weapons that really feel different, instead of the only variance between weapons being things like reach and speed and stagger, which help, but they're not tremendously differentiating in and of themselves. As Peon says here, non-combat options is another big one that I've always wanted to put into the game, and I'll be focusing pretty heavily on, specifically non-violent options, or ways for characters to utilize their skills in like sneaking around, or like immersive speechcraft, for just not making every encounter that you have end in just everyone dies. You know what I mean? And vanilla Skyrim is very heavy in that way. It's everything is constantly a fight to the death, and I would like to avoid that as much as possible. Is that so? So you can see here we've got the brilliant palaces and castles enhanced. That new music isn't quite supposed to be there, but that's okay. That mod, Palaces and Castles Enhanced, really adds a lot to the main castles in the game. Makes them a lot closer to what you would find from like Oblivion, if you guys played Oblivion. I always felt, maybe this is nostalgia, but I feel like there's something to this. The castles in Oblivion always felt so expansive and large and just kind of labyrinthine to me, and that was a feeling that I really wanted to bring back. I really wanted to give you a reason to explore these castles and to kind of donk around in them. So there's a lot more NPCs, there's a couple different services that they'll offer. There's also a lot more valuables and things of that nature that you will be able to find, and that synergizes really well with things like Skyrim sewers, because you can find these kind of clandestine routes right into and out of the palaces if you are kind of sneaky about it. So in a way, you can almost like plan some heists, if you're smart. Let's see here. Hey Finn, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. Finn is on the team for whatever, or if anyone doesn't know. So you like them banners swaying in the wind. I like that it's a little brighter inside Dragon's Reach. You'll find on the whole that interiors are brighter than they were in Legendary Edition. Here, let's go ahead and take a look at the bannered mare. I'm sorry for it appears the bitrate is still having some issues. I'll go ahead. If it gets really bad, let me know, and then I will lower my bitrate, and hopefully we can make that up. I'm seeing it have issues. What else we got? Speaking of labyrinthian, can you make Morokai even harder, please? We'll see. I would like to do something different than health regeneration, that's for sure. Indoors and building like that should be a bit brighter. Inns and taverns dimmer, dungeons dark. We'll check out some of the dungeons as well, so you can see. The animation mod I'm looking at is True Spear Combat. I like its approach better than Animated Armory, but TSC is not yet built as well as AA. That was my concern as well, Anardil, is that Animated Armory is a bit further along. But we'll see. There's no reason why in some cases we can't use both, the best elements of two different mods. Sometimes we can't do that. It'll be something we'll have to evaluate as we go. All right, what time is it right now? It is 5. Whoops. Here's what we're going to do. Set game hour to 19. So we're going to get a bunch of people. Start coming. Is Brenuin? Yes. Oh, excuse me. And then we'll go ahead and give it a wait. And this should pop a bunch of people in here. Here we go. So we have a lot of people in taverns at night. They should be able to find a lot more idle markers because we've added a lot of different idle markers that they don't kind of bunch up and crowd in certain locations. I might at this point have to go and add even more because we have far more NPCs than I anticipated originally. Glushrek says, why do so many of these people have helpless before them? I haven't really been paying attention. That is the real names mod. It kind of algorithmically names people, right? So I'm sure it's just kind of applying them. I don't know what criteria it uses. This is probably 3D NPCs, right? Yes. So they have blackface because they don't have the updated face gens yet. And also because a lot of these conflicts between, like, we might have the updated face gens in there, but within the plugins, there's Sadia. Nice. Even if the face gens are in there, if the plugin data is not pointing to it properly, or if it's trying to look for one of the NPC appearance changers, then it can get real wonky. Oh my gosh, Adrienne looked gorgeous. Yeah, she's like she's very attractive. It's kind of funny to me because I always considered Adrienne more of this like kind of hardened. I mean, she's like a blacksmith, right? There's no reason why someone can't be a blacksmith and also be hot, but it's a pretty stark change. Oh, hello, Miss Lady. Excuse me. I feel like in quarantine I've been drinking a lot more Diet Coke. But so you can see, hopefully these guys, all the NPCs are still, you can see the framework of how they're going to look. Is she 3D NPCs as well? She is. Oh, and these changes to, who is this? This is Carlotta. Beauty, right? That's why I also wanted to get a bunch of mods in here that, since on the whole, you know, things like Bijin or Bijin or however you pronounce it, and Pandorables NPCs, they mostly make people hot. There's not a whole lot of not as good looking people who are in there. So I really wanted to include more mods that brought in, we'll call it more average looking individuals, because there's obviously both in the real world. And then you have a lot of, here's Hulda. So we'll see which kind of matchup of appearances we end up using. Here's Olfina, I think. Yep. I like her gray hair. She's got kind of like a unique look to her. This is one of the 3D NPCs, I believe. Who do we got? Of course, this guy. So just imagine what this guy looks like if he doesn't have a totally messed up face tint, right? One of the other things that I really wanted to do here is, you know, it's one thing to have all of these cool looking NPCs and they all have names and makes it seem, you know, like they're actual characters. That was really important to me. But I also wanted to have them have a function within the world as well, so that they're not just window dressing, you know? And so I think a really good mod for that has been immersive speechcraft. That's something that I've wanted to get in for quite a while, even on Legendary Edition. That's by Big Biscuit, for those of you who don't know. So you can talk to people, and, you know, most anybody that you speak to, you are going to be able to have some interesting interactions with them, even if they're not related to quests or things of that nature, or if they're not a, you know, one of the 3D NPCs characters who has full-on dialogue and backstory and whatever. You should still be able to have some fun with them, which was another kind of big one for me. Glushrek says, is it possible to get hair physics in Skyrim? Yes. So, I mean, it's there, and it works really well. It's just very performance intensive. So we'll see if something like that can kind of make it to the final build, and just kind of go from there. But no promises. If I had to guess, to be honest with you, I'm going to assume no. But you never know. Oh, look, quick shout out to the, I can't remember. There's so many like model and texture replacers in there now. I think, you know who it is? It's Mathy. these like wardrobes and kind of edits to the furnitures and stuff. They look amazing in my opinion, and that's all Matthew 78 or whatever his work, the number that he attaches to his name. His work is absolutely amazing. He's the person behind 3D Trees as well, which we are not currently running because of the performance impact, but there's a lot of his mods in here for a lot of just kind of objects all over the place, and it's just incredible work. Weird lip sync. Is that so? I think because I don't have that one mod installed. Very strange. Weird. I've actually never noticed that before. Here's this back room, and then who dis? Ina. JC says, are there any thoughts to integrating spell research more than just affecting the base game through leveling a research ability which actually affects individual spell power / duration? Could force specialization within mage types. I'm not quite clear on what the question is, JC. Are there any thoughts to integrating spell research? I'm sorry, I would have to get a bit of a rephrase as to exactly what the idea is. Let's see here. 10 o'clock. So we've looked at... Oh, okay, before I go... Oh, excuse me, Ulfberth. We're going to check something out real fast, which I think is really cool. So... Oh, it's very foggy. Take it easy, Youthgird. It looks like everyone's going to bed. Very foggy. Boom. Okay, so something that I think is really cool is the interface between, oh, excuse me, Carlotta, interface between what's called Outlaw Refuges and Skyrim Sewers. So you guys probably are familiar with Skyrim Sewers if you've played Ultimate Skyrim. It's an excellent mod that just adds really interesting and cool sewer networks beneath most of the major cities, all the major cities actually. And there's another mod called Outlaw Refuges that... or Outlaw's Refuge. Outlaw Refuges, I can't remember what the title is, but it's something like that. That essentially adds a... You can almost view it as like a safe space or a safe area for like thieves or assassins or just kind of lawless characters, right, who might have bounties. These areas contain basic kind of amenities for such characters, things like a place to sleep and a place to trade, a fence that you can access. We're going to go ahead and take a look at one of those right now, which is nestled over here and hidden. Yes, like ESO Ring. These apparently were inspired by ESO. So you just essentially have this spot for, you know, outlaw characters to hang out and just kind of trade. It was always a little bit of a bummer to me that really the only way to make your way as like an effective thief in the game is to join the Thieves Guild, because they really are the only fences that you'll have access to. And of course, if you're selling stolen goods, you need fences because no one else will buy it. And I just always thought that was a little bit limiting, because I'm sure that there are many thieves or many character archetypes that, you know, are thieves but don't want to be associated with the Thieves Guild for whatever reason. Maybe they're just independent thieves, or maybe they have something against the Thieves Guild or whatever. And I figure there would be plenty of those people realistically, and someone would exist to meet the demand for, you know, the goods that they provide, that they steal. So essentially what you have here are these little kind of nooks within a lot of the major cities that you can kind of hang out in. You can get a nice rest, and I don't know where the fence is right now, but normally you can go ahead and just sell stuff. It's pretty cool. And it also still incentivizes you to join the Thieves Guild if you want some additional kind of bonuses, because through the Thieves Guild you still unlock fences. These fences will give you, the Thieves Guild fences, I mean, will give you better prices because they are within your faction if you also join the Thieves Guild. So it still kind of makes it's essentially you're unlocking premium fences if you manage to go through the Thieves Guild. So there are pros and cons to either approach, which is a major design kind of philosophy of Ultimate Skyrim. And the cool thing here is that, as you'll see, the outlaw refuges in most locations... Uh-oh, something's freaking out over here. that goes underneath your Vasker. The outlaw refuges are directly integrated into Skyrim sewers. So over here, we're underneath the Whiterun well. And because of this integration, it is technically possible for you to go into and out of the major cities completely undetected if you're good. So let's say you have, a bounty in Whiterun, for example. You can enter the city through the sewers, away from the watchful eyes of the guards, and make your way all the way into the outlaw refuges, offload your stolen goods or whatever, and then just kind of pop your way out, and you don't gotta worry about it. I think that's really cool. Anordil says, Noxcrab has got his Scroll Maker mod. Have you ever checked it out? I think it would work great with US philosophy. I have not, Anordil. I believe that Spell Research also allows you to craft scrolls. However, pretty much anything that Noxcrab makes, I immediately love, so I will definitely check it out. Effia says, oh, that reminds me, what about mages who don't want to join the College of Winterhold? Outlaw mages, maybe? Independent master mages or something? Does anything like that exist? So I would say so. Perhaps not quite so directly as this kind of outlaw refuge independence that I'm talking about. There, even in Ultimate Skyrim, there's not quite as much that's locked behind the college that you couldn't get otherwise. There are merchants who sell spell tomes that you really can't find elsewhere out in the world easily, but most of the time you can find them in some way. And then you also have spell research that allows you to kind of circumvent joining the Mages Guild. However, I think it's fair to say that maybe a little bit more attention could be paid towards that sort of kind of mage independence, similar to this thief independence that I'm talking about. So I'll kind of keep that in mind. JC says, in regards to the question, which was, my illusion mage is always the same. Spell research could be used to give more power to specific spells. So researching fire and forget spells may give a boost to spells like hibernation spray, but not blur. That would be really cool, JC. Think about, I don't have a ton of experience with spell research using it myself. It is a very complex mod. I know that just from working with it underneath the hood. I would probably say it's Iron Dusk's most complex mod. So if we're talking about, if that's not something it already allows you to do, and we're talking about kind of fundamentally changing how the mod works, or like adding a feature like that, it would be a pretty complex task, but you never know. Generally speaking, I kind of mess around with things and see how they operate and then make changes at that point. So we'll see. Let me go ahead and teleport us now. Let's check out, let's see, what should be next on our tour. Let's go to, man, I should really make it so that the chat shows up on the VOD. Oh well, next time. What do you guys think? Are we going to Markarth, Riften, Solitude, or Windhelm next? Go ahead and, first one that I see, I'm going to do it. We'll go through all of them, but tell me which one to do next while I read these. See Me Cow says, I'm definitely looking forward to Ultimate Skyrim coming to SE, but I'm not looking forward to trying to get it working on Linux. Yeah, me either. The results should be better than LE. Oh, that was your guide? The Linux guide? Your name is familiar to me. Maybe I'm misremembering. The results should be better than LE, but I can't seem to even get MO2 working properly yet. Had to use Vortex just to get Sky UI installed and make vanilla gameplay tolerable. I'm sorry about that, man. Unfortunately, I am, when it comes to Linux, extremely, I've never used it. I have used it. I've never used it on any of my personal machines. If there's any way I can help make it, easier, and it's something within my wheelhouse. Effia says, I think he means like specialist mages from D&D. They focus on specific schools of magic to make their spells more potent. That would be, I think the closest we have to that right now would be, the perks in the magic schools. But I understand how that's not quite as freeform as, what D&D allows you to do. If there are ways to make spell casting even more particular, and, I can see how what you're saying now, where spell research kind of provides this already existing vector into kind of like customizing your spells and things like that, I think that would be awesome. The idea of a system where you could customize spells or like focus on a certain type of spells like fire or forget or whatever, almost like you would mod like a weapon or something in Fallout 4, that sounds absolutely awesome to me. So we'll go ahead and see. All right, first vote. Actually, all the votes for Solitude. Let's do it. COC. What time is it right now? Let's make it set game hour to put 10 a.m. and we will pop over to Solitude. Solitude is a personal favorite of mine. It's probably the one that I spent the most time on trying to get the textures right between like the 4 different main texture mods that are kind of handling the majority of the textures there. Solitude discovered. Of course, anytime you teleport into Solitude in a new game, you get to watch this really fun intro sequence. Oh, everyone's leaving the tavern because I warped the game hour to 10. Excuse me, Savari. Who we got? Ms. Lady. Yvette. This guy. Rogveer. No. Take it easy. Terry. God, talk about beautification. Although, I guess this makes sense because she's one of the 2 sisters at the Radiant Raiment, right? They strike me as the kind of people who would be pretty appearance concerned. This sequence is probably waiting for some NPCs to kind of pop in here. Because there are... Yeah, here she comes. Oh, no. I'm thinking of someone else. Where's the lady that gets mad at him? Alright, well... We can let this play out. We don't necessarily have to wait for it. So you can kind of see what everything looks like. Some nice kind of... So, oh, here's the Solitude Outlaws Refuge. I will probably get rid of those markers just because we already don't fast travel. Or if I keep them in there, I'll make them a lot smaller. Just to kind of let the Outlaw Refuges be, you know, kind of like a surprise. So all the major cities beyond the texture overhauls have a combination of JKs and Dawn of Skyrim, just kind of filling them out and, you know, giving their districts a little bit more stuff going on. Some of these guards, for some reason, don't have their improved close-face helmets. That's the one I'm looking for. But that will all be fixed through conflict resolution. Hello, Miss Lady. She's not very nice. That's Gisley. I'm going to set... If I keep messing with the game hour during these sequences, it's not going to be very nice. They're going to get mad at me, but oh well. I hate teleporting to Solitude just to let that sequence play out. You guys can kind of see what it looks like. Once again, I really tried to make the textures emblematic of the materials that are available in each region, and just kind of make everything feel contiguous while also looking pretty and realistic. Those are kind of my design goals. Hello. Nope. You're scary looking. Glass Hatter says, oh, can I go Fusroda Elisif for no particular reason? I don't think so, because I don't think I'd be able to give myself Fusroda, but we can go see her. I have a replacer for Elisif sitting in my downloaded mods pile. Ooh. This looks like it needs a little bit of editing. I think we have Blue Palaces Enhanced. Or Blue Palace Enhanced. Palaces and Castles Enhanced, stepping on the toes of JK's and Dawn of Skyrim a little bit. Oh, excuse me. Shall we? Do you have any sort of estimate for the special edition release? I'm wondering whether to wait for it or start another playthrough on Oldrim instead. It is still months away, special edition Glass, so depending on how long you want to wait, it's completely up to you. But it's definitely not just going to, you know, pop in a couple weeks. So if you're worried about that, you don't have to be. Miss Elisif the Fair. She always annoyed me. I mean, maybe she's kind of supposed to. Let's see what she looks like right now. Very nice. I like that I can just kind of walk right up to her. So she looks okay, but the replacer that I have ready for her I think looks a lot better. Oh, wow. That looks really nice. That's another thing that Special Edition has natively, is the uh, ambient occlusion. Of course, the ENB ambient occlusion is a bit more fully featured on the whole, but you just really can't beat the performance impact of the native one. So one thing that I think is cool. What is this? Why am I all jumpy when I'm moving like this? Where's the jail? Ribeiro. Of course, Ribeiro and Grom. Name a more classic duo. You guys see this? I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. When I stream, it's a little strange. You can see it too. Oh, the parlor, of course. What about NPC reaction to specific things your characters do? So the NPCs are a bit more reactive because of mods like immersive world encounters. Wow, this is a nice freaking place. Why is the frame rate / movement so odd all of a sudden? Something about this interior. Yeah, so you have stuff like immersive world encounters, but see, this is why I wanted SV mods in there so much, because its implementation of these kind of reactions I think is the best really that's out there. Why are you so wet? Where did you just come out of right now? Like how like in Legendary Edition of Ultimate Skyrim, you can't just walk right up to a Jarl like what we just did with Elisif. Their house Carl will get a little alarmed, or maybe only if you have your weapon out, although I'm sure it could be adjusted otherwise. Is that kid bald? Hey. Oh no, he just got a really short haircut. Nope. Oh, death bells. Beautiful. Also, we've got, it's tough to say because a lot of the mods, like I said, are disabled right now even, so there's some features of the cities that you won't see just because I don't need them active while I'm testing. But some cool stuff, like if we're talking additional content right now, like the Pit Fighters subquest is in Windhelm, as is like the original arena that is out of commission, and just some stuff to look at in that vein. Let's see. What I mean is, I often like playing Necromancers. I find running into town with 2 raised corpses and no one says anything to be a bit immersion breaking. Are there mods that add things to that effect? I'm not sure, Effia. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think so, but I mean, I don't know. I don't really think you should be able to walk around in cities while having raised dead skeletons either. So I will go ahead and take a look to see kind of how it responds right now, and see if we can do anything about that. Of course, some of you might have noticed, this is unrelated completely, these beautiful doors, right? The glorious doors by Hype. A lot of those are in here, and they're very excellent work. Oh shit, remind me to teleport back into the Winking Skeever. I always want to show off the taverns in every city because I think they're cool. So let's go ahead and take a quick walk down to the docks, shall we? We can see kind of what the environment looks like here in Solitude. Run past this guard. Shut up. Oh, we got a Khajiit caravan, of course. I was going to say, it looks like it's going to start raining. Is that so, Rajad? Man, even without, this is without any sort of Dindulad or any LOD generation, really. Just the static billboards. Hoop. Come on. I mean, the rain graphics are real nice, but I want a nice, clear, beautiful day. Let's see. Mixad says, are there any plans or considerations to include the combat gameplay overhaul? Excuse me. Most likely, yes, Mixad. Someone asked me that before, and it's tricky because on the one hand, I have a very strong interest in making sure that combat remains relatively realistic. However, I do like the freedom that mod seems to bring to the table. The idea of being able to like move fully, like backwards and forwards while attacking, that part maybe not so much, but The fact that you can like jump and shoot, right, or jump and attack, these are things that I feel like would help make combat feel even more fluid, especially when combined with some different animations for different weapon types. Those strike me as the kind of things where it's like, okay, if we can implement some sort of counterbalance, right? Like maybe if you try to jump and fire an arrow, your arrows are significantly less accurate, you know, or things like that. Or like something like a jumping slash. That seems to me like it. These things seem like, you know, even if they have kind of counterbalances, you would be able to do that like in real life. And that's what I think the primary appeal of that mod is to me, is that it just kind of gives you a little bit more freedom as to how you conduct your combat. So, I mean, like we already have sprint jumping in, right? Which is always really weird how you kind of had to stop sprinting and then jump. So I definitely have been looking at it, and most or like the what's it called? The combat gameplay overhaul, excuse me, the diving roll, kind of like Dark Souls style. Once again, it's something that, you know, I would want to have a strong kind of counterbalance, because if you're just dive rolling in the middle of combat, especially if you're wearing a bunch of armor, it would be extremely hard to pull off. So I would want there to be some sort of maybe large stamina requirement, so you can't just spam it like crazy. But once again, that is the kind of thing that you would be able to do if you wanted to. There's, you know, if I was in a sword fight with somebody, no one says that I can't just, you know, throw my whole self over. And there are some combat styles, I believe, that do utilize things like that. Like I think ninjutsu had some stuff like that. Of course, they're in very light armor. FES says, can we go and punch Ellenwyn? She's at the Thalmor Embassy, right? Maybe. Here's what we can do. One, 3, 2, 6, 9. Here she is. Hello, Miss Lady. Oh, she's scary. Yeah, so you can see here where it would be really nice to have kind of physics cloaks. Unfortunately, I just don't know if it'll be worth the performance cost. We'll go ahead and see. JRB says, when can we play this? I just saw your post on Reddit and jumped in. Unfortunately, not for a little bit, JRB, although probably I will. I don't know. I've been trying to be a little bit less perfectionist in my work, to where, you know, the earliest playable builds might be a bit rougher than they have been, or, you know, like beta builds I might make available, just so people can kind of jump in and dig in and give me the testing feedback. But definitely not for at least a couple months, because as you can see from this stream, there's still a lot of there's no conflict resolution at all yet. There's no patches, no anything that really need to be handled before I'd be comfortable really getting the testing data. Sidka says, are you putting most of your resources to SE, or more of an even split between the two projects? As of right now, Sidka, almost all of my time, 99% of my development time goes towards the special edition. The legendary edition one is really just maintenance from here on in. There are a couple bugs that I would still like to fix that will likely make it into a hot fix 3, but where things are now, I'm pretty okay with. So I'll probably just kind of do that. Also, you guys can see, here is our, I was kind of hoping to pop this in here. This is our docks district, right? So we got this cute little spot down here. Everyone's favorite large boat. I believe it's called the Large Boat. And let's see. JS Brando, stick with immersive horses. For the love of Malakath, stay away from convenient horses. Oh, interesting. Why do you say that? Yeah, wow, that eyeshadow. Yes, Ellenwyn really swinging for the fences when it comes to that makeup, which feels very Thalmor to me. I don't know, very like haughty and, you know, kind of, what's the word? I guess arrogant, for lack of a better term. So here we have this really cute little docks district. For things like this, I'm very particular in, you know, adding different locations. I really won't do it unless I feel like it's been built out to kind of the vanilla standard. For all of the scale problems that Skyrim has, I think it's pretty clear that what they tried to do was to make every location feel detailed and meaningful, which is why, you know, you have, when you go and talk to all the different vanilla characters, they all have something unique to say, or they have some specific role within the world. And I feel like that has been really well accomplished by this Solitude Docks mod. So we have characters who have specific names and all kinds of stuff. We do have some land edits here that I can tell are not correct. These are supposed to be door. This right here is supposed to be, it's not going to let me disable this because it's like a landmass. But you have these nice little like back alleyways that are evidently obscured by this large landmass right here, little farms and stuff in the back of people's things. There's like this kind of creepy back tavern. Boom. So we've used immersive horses. Right now I think I have convenient horses in there. The reason for that is because convenient horses has, this is like something I've wanted for a very, very long time. Convenient horses has a system for, excuse me, a system for like affinity to grow between your character and your horse, which is something that I really wanted. That's kind of why I have it in there, but I really haven't. You know, I love immersive horses, and I went with convenient horses because it's actually still being actively developed. Ow. On special edition. Sorry, my muscles are very tight right now. But we'll see. Immersive horses feel smoother and looks better than convenient horses. You know, as an adventure warrior, I wouldn't have a caravan type pack on my horse usually. Well, I mean, you could, but I definitely take your point. Here's the little, what's it called? I guess market district, you can call it, of the Solitude Docks. This is a really nice little tavern. Oh, Jesus. That we can check out. Horseback combat is smoother with immersive horses as well. Well, I'll definitely compare the two and see how we go. Excuse me, Jorm. Good afternoon. So we got this nice tavern here, which I think is really cool. Hello? Nope. And we have, I started to say this, but replacers for the tavern music, which I think is really, really nice. Effia says, what are your plans for casting animations and such? I hate the hunch in vanilla and in Ultimate Skyrim. Yeah, you're talking about how when they take their hands out, they're always like this, and they're firing like that. It does not look great. I really haven't looked much at animations yet, but I will definitely keep that in mind, and rest assured that I think that also looks terrible. So we'll try and find an alternative for that. And of course, with all the really cool stuff that's happening right now on Special Edition with animations, I think, you know, it's very promising. By that specifically, I mean, you know, Nemesis. We can all unfortunately say goodbye to Four, who seems to have left the modding scene. I had no idea that he was the age that he is, and I'm surprised he stuck with it for as long as he did. It's just kind of nuts, like being, you know, I think most modders in general are younger, most game players, but I don't know. I think Nemesis is really promising and has a lot of features that Four's new idols, you know, didn't quite have, and it'll be really cool. I think this tavern is named after the one at the Anvil Docks from Oblivion. You are correct about that, Glass. That is intentional by the author. They wanted it to be a nice reference. They said as much on their description page. Yeah, so I think Nemesis is going to be really cool. I'm really glad that we have a successor because, you know, Four's new idols in Skyrim really did take on a very complex task. JS Brando, hey, now we're not all in our 20s. It's true. I mean, the thing is that he turned out to be, I think, in his 60s, which I think is pretty uncommon. And it's very cool to me that you are so interested in these games and really, you know, much older than the average age. Okay. Nope. All right, we'll check out the Winking Skeever. We will pop it to, what, 8 o'clock? I don't know why. My left, I got like a knot in my left shoulder blade. It's driving me crazy. In fact, you know what? Here, if you'll permit me, I'm going to take this standing desk that I have and utilize it. Uh-oh, what's happening there? I got my cable management thing. Look, I'm short. It's having some trouble lately. What is happening here? Oh. Well, I'm not going to mess with that right now, but I accidentally ran my cable around the leg of my desk. Come on. You got it. There we go. Just making sure I'm not going to tear down the my entire setup here. Oh, you guys want a little tour of my room real fast? Here. I'll just show you my shelf. I'm very proud of this shelf. It's my super nerd collection of stuff. I got all my Zelda, my Amiibos, my Pokemons, my Sorex Vinius. Just everything a boy needs, right? Glass Hatter says, I find it funny how long I would play Oblivion for when I was younger. I played it for years with just the one character. Much harder to get into games like that nowadays. Ain't that the truth? It's the old adage, right? That when you're young, you have no money and infinite free time. And then now that we're a little older, we have more money and no free time. But it's just kind of how it goes. So here's the winking skeever, right? Let's go ahead and set game hour. Effia says, just think if this was LE, you have crashed twice already. More than that, Effia. Something I should say right now, and I can't remember who asked it before, but what is the real benefit of being on Special Edition? One of the other major benefits is stability, and by that I mean I guarantee to you that there are so many errors right now in this build that we are playing because there's not been any conflict resolution. I have resolved so many errors manually over the years that they just exist. They're going to be there, especially when mods are trying to talk to each other and they don't know how to do that. I guarantee to you that there are tons right now in this build, and yet we haven't crashed once. In like all of my testing thus far, we have almost 400 mods. I really could count on one hand the amount of times that I've crashed, and that is just, it's really a testament to how much more stable Special Edition is on the whole. So here we are. I really like the textures here in Solitude. This was really the hardest one to get right. It took a lot of comparison and kind of hiding and messing with textures in Mod Organizer 2, which, by the way, just a quick shout out to the developers of Mod Organizer 2. I mean, it's hardly an original opinion that is just the most fully featured, incredible mod organizer, but it really is. It is fantastic. JRB, what about performance? Performance on Special Edition is just so much better. Even if you have the same frames per second, anecdotally, on Legendary Edition versus Special Edition, 60 FPS, we'll say, on LE versus SE, it just still feels better. It still feels smoother. It's really nice on Special Edition. I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on it because I think streaming is pretty tough for my computer, and so we're seeing definite frame dips in places. You're still going to see frame dips in these really populated locations or when you have immersive patrols, battles happening, but it's so much smoother. It's just really nice, and you'll kind of hopefully get to check it out. Set game hour to excuse me, 18, we'll say. And then I'm gonna wait. No, it's not enough. 20. Boom. Now we're gonna have people coming in here. Oh, that's right. I have Rock Joint. I forgot. Man, she looks fucking cool. Set. Oh no, whoops. There we go. Bam. Lots of people. Go ahead and let them go nuts for a second. I suppose Ellie is like a tricycle compared to Special Edition. I mean, it's frankly, it's admirable that it can do what it can do, but it's limited. It's a client that came out in 2011. It's rough, and there's just a lot of improvements that have been made since that Special Edition gets to utilize that Legendary Edition just can't. It's those resource allocations in particular. You guys gonna go ahead and take up seats or use some idle markers? Sometimes it takes them a second. Honestly, with the amount of with the amount of characters and stuff we have running around in these places, I'm probably going to need to manually go in and really put a lot of idle markers in, but most of them are pretty good. You're a strange looking guy. That guy's actually a dick. He's like an alcoholic, and he constantly harps on his daughter. I think that's him. Harps on his daughter for not bringing him more alcohol. Meanwhile, she's like working 2 jobs and just barely managing to squeak by. A little rough. Okay, now next up, let's go ahead and pop over to Markarth. How about that? Go set game hour to 12. Watch everyone filter out all of a sudden. Hello. Okay, see ya. I often just fade out of existence that way myself. Even just like the subsurface scattering like on their skin and stuff is so nice. Markarth. Origin. How about this? We'll check out Markarth and then we'll do a little bit of going around in some like a dungeon. Do you have plans for music and sounds to be in the base install? I know that Old Rim had that pinned message on Discord for installing new music. Definitely sounds. There are already a bunch of sound mods, you know, the classic audio overhaul for Skyrim. I'm gonna save my girl Margaret here. Always taking the long way around. Sorry, bud. Oh, I missed. Okay, wait. Oh, he can't figure it out. What's up with his nav mesh? Stop. You never should have come here. Oh! Oh, nice shot, guard. Chickens, you're in the way. Gross. What are you doing? Get out of here. Alright, so this is Markarth. I think Markarth looks fantastic. This is this is the only city for which I use really just one texture and mesh overhaul, and that is Frank Family's Frankly HD Markarth. I believe he subtitles it The White City. I'm going to go ahead and show this off real fast. If you guys aren't familiar with Frank Family, he's another very prolific texture artist on the Nexus. He has incredible work, just absolutely stunning. There's a whoops, that is a fucked up command that I just tried to put in, mixing my commands together. So you can see. Oh yes, okay, Effia. Oh, and I also didn't finish answering your other question. Yes, that is an expanding pool of blood. That is the triumphant return of expanded blood textures, which is even better on Special Edition. It actually, in fact, I'll go ahead and I'll show you what it looks like on some roads, because it has this really cool feature where it kind of like the blood like fills in the gaps in stones. It's very interesting. To answer your other question, as far as music goes, I'm a lot more selective when it comes to music. But I do have a lot of music mods kind of there for evaluation. It's just tricky because I kind of have to go through and make sure that each one really fits the kind of feeling that I'm going for. But they are definitely there to be evaluated. So the textures of the Dwarven stone, this white stone, Markarth, the White City, that is all Frank Family. We have a couple more of his mods in there right now, but there are likely going to be a lot more after that. I can show you one of them because it is amazing. Let's see. Nightingale Armor. Most of his stuff is titled Frankly HD. If you're looking for it yourself, you can find it fairly easily that way. 8483C2. So, no, why is that first 8483C2? There we go. That is not the right command. There we go. I believe this should have the right texture. That is not the right one, evidently. 5db86 maybe? Yes. Here we are. So just feast your eyes on this for a second. This is like the female version, which looks really nice, but honestly, I think that the male looks even cooler. It's incredible work, frankly. Mixod, how much focus will 5.0 put on character creation? In US 4.0, I would always end up downloading a ton of additional customization mods. Also, thanks for the detailed answer on my previous question. Of course, man. Or person. If you're talking about character appearance, there's a lot of options, just thanks to things like Baijin and all the hairdos and makeup and so on. If you're talking about build customization, that should also be greatly expanded because of things like Enai's and SNBCJ's mods and kind of additions to Requiem's character builds. There's a lot of fun to be had. Hello, you guys are priests of some sort. So these are, yes, this is populated lands, roads, and paths. So what's really cool about these NPCs is they're not just static. They're not just hanging out, you know, in town. Some of them do. Some of them live in the towns and hang out in the taverns and are just kind of generally around. But you'll see a lot more NPCs doing stuff like out in the world, like that. Those whoever those guys were, they were evidently traveling to and from Markarth, and now they're traveling somewhere else. And you'll see them like doing stuff. You'll encounter them on the roads. Sometimes you'll encounter adventurers who are, you know, kind of trying their hand at certain dungeons. Sometimes you'll find like thieves who are stealing things, or, you know, like you'll be in Riften and you'll find Blackbriar mercenaries like patrolling the area around Riften. The world just, it really takes that kind of core design philosophy of making the world feel alive and like it's constantly doing things even if you're not there. It takes that, and special edition version just cranks that up to 11, which is something I'm, very excited about, if you can't tell. Effia says, I just like my dungeons to feel like dungeons. I don't like overt music, but I like distant sounds, and for example, it would be nice for monsters to have varied sounds, so you aren't sure if what you're hearing is ambient sounds or a nearby enemy. I totally get you. It's tricky because sometimes, like Sounds of Skyrim is pretty popular for that kind of like ambient, you know, sound. But sometimes it can be really obvious when something is ambient versus not, but I definitely get how it can be. You just don't want to feel like you know immediately like whether or not a monster is really there. And I totally understand that, and, you know, we'll hopefully strike a nice balance there. So this is the beautiful, the infamous corridor, right? Markarth corridor that, used to be, oh, am I 90? I guess I am. For some reason, the field of view 90 feels more zoomed in to me in Special Edition. That's something I noticed immediately. And here, this used to be the most performance-intensive spot to look at in Legendary Edition. Not really so bad anymore, frankly. Yeah, so here's Markarth. Looks real nice, in my opinion. Real beautiful place. You got Understone Keep, of course. Rogvar, who can forget Rogvar. Tyler says, Twizzle Sticks, add Habbo Hotel integration special edition version. Of course. You know, Habbo Hotel, we're aiming, right now Club Penguin is actually outbidding us. Or outbidding Habbo Hotel, that is. But, you know, maybe we'll just do like an early exclusivity deal for Club Penguin, and they can get like the first 6 months, and then we'll open it up to Habbo Hotel. Effia says, this is odd, but could you show us Blackreach? Has any work been done there? There has been work done there, Effia, and it's not odd at all for you to ask. Why don't we do that right after this? I mean, Markarth is a little bit tinier on the whole, so we'll just kind of finish up our loop. Real nice. The Temple of Mara also is really nice up there. And then you have these, of course, these beautiful dwarven light sources that actually do function as light sources because they are part of the ENB lights. These ones maybe not actually, but other ones elsewhere in the city. Those need to be edited. Got some merchants, got some goats. Who doesn't like a good goat? This guy's dead. Here's what I'll do. I will show you the blood on the stones just because it's rad. And then we'll pop over to Blackreach, and then probably like Ember Shard as well, just to kind of show off what like a mine looks like. Ow. Got dead skin on my finger somehow. So here's Markarth. Looks real pretty. Really safe. Traveling in the Reach, of course, you know, really not a whole lot of dangers there. Definitely not any sort of Daedric cult barbarians, you know, kind of making their way. So let's check this out. I'm gonna summon a bandit. Help bandit. Player dot place at me. BF6 1. Hello. Stop. Hey. Let's see, this should do it. Let's see. Did he land in like the one spot where there's not really as much stone? If I move him. Bleed over here, guy. Here we go. Is it doing it? Kind of hard to tell. You can kind of see that the blood will like go between the cracks like a bit more. It's not exactly a fantastic example of it, but you can kind of get the idea. Effia, any plans for vampires in this one? Wasn't a great fan of the severe penalties vampires had. I know they had benefits too, but it was quite extreme. So as of right now, vampires will mostly be handled by Sacrosanct, which of course is Enai's vampire mod. It still leans pretty hard into the whole, you know, vampirism is a curse kind of element, but I think it does a really good job from what I understand. I haven't done a whole lot of testing with it myself. Anordil, immersion question. Would it make sense for all the major holds to have bathhouses? Like, would Whiterun have one? After all, no one has a bath or bathroom in their houses. Good question, Anordil. And actually, that is something that I've thought a lot about. And there basically will be bathhouses in all of the holds, or you'll have at the very least kind of like sauna rooms. But a lot of them have, like, northern bathhouses is in there right now. I don't know if it's enabled right now, but they're there. So bathhouses, to me, I know they've, for some reason, it's just like a very cool thing to me, and it's also historically accurate, you know, to have like these public bathhouses where people can get clean. I also wanted to add like a little, almost like maybe a campfire style leveling bonus to the bathhouses if you go and just kind of, you know, take a quick dip. Just something to, you know, rest your weary muscles after a long day of adventuring. Maybe it gives you like a small experience boost over the next day or something like that. Maybe even just like a little speed boost, maybe different, maybe it's Japan style where different, you know, mineral waters kind of impart different bonuses. But I wanted there to be bathhouses, and I wanted there to be a tangible reason for you to use them. So rest assured on that front, my friend. Really cool blood effects. I think the blood looks fantastic. I'm glad you guys think so. Thank Enhanced Blood Textures for that, because that is another fantastic mod. Oh, okay. Before we go to Blackreach, let's go ahead and check out, since we're here. I mean, I guess I can just fly right up there, but let's just do it this way. Oh, I can see the stream starting to have some issues again. Let me know if it gets really bad. What I always want to say, Cloud Ruler Temple. Sky Haven Temple. There we go. This is just a personal favorite of mine. So we've got a really nice retexture. I believe this is Clever Charf who does this one. But we've got a couple different mods running here in Sky Haven. For those of you who aren't familiar, Sky Haven Temple is the like the, you know, where the blades end up kind of reforming, and you do that over the course of the main quest. It's really cool because not only does it look kind of really nice and, you know, overgrown and whatever, but it actually will improve in stages as you run through the main quest. So like you kind of get that really nice sense of progression, like you are building out the blades further. So there's retextures and kind of appearance mods. There's also mods that directly edit kind of how it functions. They give a nice player home here in Sky Haven, and just it really kind of add to that feeling that you are helping to reinstitute a faction. And it does it, I think, a lot better than vanilla, which allows you to recruit like 2 blades or something, right? It's just, it feels like so many things in vanilla Skyrim. It just feels so dinky and kind of like a, you know, a shell of kind of what they intended, which really on the whole, I think it's not as if Bethesda didn't have these ideas themselves. It's just, of course, one of those things where, whoa, why did this spit me out here? Oh, you know why? It's because I'm actually not supposed to be here yet. Well, I can do this. So Sky Haven's actually kind of weird. It's one of the few places in the game I found that does this, but you're not supposed to be here yet, and it knows that, and so it actually won't let you in to this area. Oh, you know what? I must not have it enabled. So this is the Skyhaven Forge by JK, just to once again add a little bit of utility. But there's also a really nice garden here from the Skyhaven Gardens mod that just turns it into this really cool kind of Japanese style garden. And so it really does feel like you are expanding the blades, like you're building this ancient faction back up to power. You can legitimately kind of make your home. There's a lot of quest lines in the game that will will kind of provide resources for you. I really wanted there to be reasons for you to pursue all these different things, right? So it's like when you kind of start building out the blades, you get followers, you get a nice player home that looks really cool and has actual, kind of utilities for you to use there. When you first make it up to High Hrothgar with the Greybeards, it's probably not a place you're going to use as your player home because it's so remote and out of the way. But there is like a small kind of area of the temple that you can have for yourself to use as like the Dragonborn's quarters, right? Like kind of in their pantry. Just little things like that really make it feel more contiguous. Anardil says, would you be changing NPC packages so that they would visit bathhouses once or twice a week? It's possible, Anardil. I believe that Northern Bathhouses adds some packages of that sort, but if it doesn't, I would want that to be an area that NPCs can visit. AI packaging and kind of having people go places is not my area of expertise, so I'd kind of have to look into it, but I'm always looking for ways to expand my knowledge of what I'm able to do. Right now I have AI overhaul kind of mostly handling NPC packages within cities, but I'm sure that it'd be possible to learn. Oh, but I started to say this. I can't remember if I finished. Skyhaven Temple is one of the few places in the game where it will actually like push you out of the location if you are not supposed to be there. So I'll show you what that looks like if we are right in the middle of the gardens. Most places you can kind of just tour at your leisure, but not here. And so it'll literally push me out of the area like that, which I always thought was funny. Effia says, wow, it looks great. Really looks like abandoned temple. Anordale, what is the mod name for the Skyhaven Temple? I lagged out and missed the name. So the texture, I believe this is Clever Charf. There's a couple different ones out there, but Clever Charf, HD, Skyhaven Temple, something of that sort. And then you have JK's Skyhaven Forge, but it's part of JK's Skyrim, which I use, which covers all of Skyrim. And then the Skyhaven Garden. So it's kind of the three working in conjunction. And then there's also one, I can't remember what it is. There's one that is the one that I'm talking about that improves the actual like creation. I'd have to look through it. Effia, have you done any work on spell visuals, updated textures, new effects? A little bit. There's textures for fire and kind of ice, but I believe I actually in a lot of cases prefer the vanilla to some of the modded stuff that's out there. I don't know. It's just a kind of a matter of preference, but low res stuff I tend to handle, but I'm also, I don't know, some texture work does not, it's just not my style. Galactic says, is the merchant cart mod going to make it into the special edition of Ultimate Skyrim? Depends on which one you're talking about, Galactic. If you're talking about the what is it called? I can't remember what it is. The one that you can drive around and it's got like its own custom textures. I've always liked the idea. It's been a little wonky in the past, so we'll see. But I like the concept. CM Kimikow, in a mod list of my own prior to using US, I at one point had a line with the vampires in Dawnguard, later became a lich. Vampires did not like me anymore after that and frequently referred to me as mortal. Any plans to do something with this in US? Sorry if it's already resolved. I never got that far in a US install. I've not heard of that bug in particular. I would have to kind of dig into it. I'm sure it's something that can be, most anything can be resolved. So I'd just have to see it and get my hands in it. I know that Undeath has a remastered version on Special Edition, and the patches and fixes that are available for Undeath on Special Edition are different than the ones that are available for Legendary Edition, so it's possible that wouldn't be a problem, but we'd have to kind of check it out. Any new jobs / ways to make money without combat planned? Planned, yes. In the game, no, right now. But like Jobs of Skyrim, for example, has been one of those big ones that I've wanted. It's already sitting in my downloads. non-combat and just making your way in the world through non-combat means and like life skills and things like that is a huge focus for me now and moving forward. JRB says, I'm legit more hyped for this any new game coming out this year. It's very kind of you to say. Atomy, sorry I don't have any chat commands set up yet. I just kind of got all this Twitch stuff set up, and also this mod list is very ever changing at this moment, but I'll try and do that for the next stream. Okay, what is it, Blackreach Origin? Yes. Valentus, been playing since 3.6. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you very much for your participation in the project. You're very welcome. Oh, here come the Falmer. Hello, my friends. Check this out. Oops. Weird. You guys all suddenly died. So here's Blackreach. We've got some nice retextures. I believe that like these mushrooms and kind of the ground textures and stuff, like these landscape textures are probably still Mysterious Dawn, but a lot of the kind of the static objects and stuff are rallies. It's like these mushrooms. Very nice. And I believe Blackreach might also be expanded a bit. I can't remember if we have that in there right now, but here's what Blackreach looks like. Oof. And we've got I have one mod running right now which essentially changes the cube mapping for dwarven metals. So the textures themselves have not been edited yet. You can see there's still a little bit kind of blech, but the cube map has been changed so that dwarven metals look really shiny and cool. And I really like that a lot because it's, you know, the dwarven equipment is historically and famously long lasting and still functional. Of course, you still have so many of these, you know, dwarven mechanisms and machinery that are still functional so much later, hundreds of years later, rather. So I kind of wanted to edit them and make them look the part, so to speak. You'll see here that because of ENB light, when someone wields a spell like that, you can actually see it lighting up. I think that's a really nice touch. God, you're ugly. What's up, guys? This must be so frustrating for you. You look frustrated in your faces. Sorry. Oof. Oh, that one looked like he was still alive. Oopsie. Yeah, it does look a little expanded. I think I have a mod in there that's running that. Yeah, so there's Blackreach. Real fun. On the topic of ENB light, do the red Nern roots do that? Yeah. So you'll see here that Nern roots, I've never... this is perhaps a bit lore unfriendly of me, but I've never been a fan of Nern roots making the sounds that they do. I've tried swapping out the sounds to find better ones. They still just annoy me. And so what I opted for instead was ENB lighting for the Nern roots so that you can spot them that way. You know, I think a bioluminescent plant is pretty notable in and of itself. So you will find Nern, or like there's Nern roots that'll be in the middle of towns, like in vanilla. And I'm like, you cannot tell me that these townspeople are not lying awake at 3 a.m. listening to this stupid sound that the Nern root's making and not immediately going and uprooting that thing. All right, let's go ahead and pop over to Ember Shard, everyone's favorite Ember Shard mine 01. So you can see kind of some mine lighting and things of that nature, which I think looks very nice. So right now we don't have Dungeon Immersively DISDD, whatever the acronym is, installed, but I'm likely going to bring it back. I just don't have it on right now because I always forget to adjust the setting that requires you to, it like blacks out the screen at the beginning of dungeons as it turns off all the lights. And weirdly, this is very strange. I've not been able to figure out why. The DISDD kind of auto script that turns off all the lights, it takes way longer to run on Special Edition versus Legendary Edition, and I don't know why. And I've seen many other people report this same issue. I just don't know what's happening there. It's very curious. It's one of the few instances I've seen of a like a special edition implementation of something that runs more slowly. Oh. Oh. Hello? Do you see me? Boom. Got him. Hello. Ow. Come on. Nanathon. Ow. Stop. Is it just me, or do the kill moves just look wonky? They're just like... there's no weight or like anything to them. Finn says, cheater. Of course, I am. Effia, I want to see Volkihar too, but I won't ask you to show us everything. Looks absolutely phenomenal so far. Thank you, Effia. Really, I just wanted to get through the major cities, but I mean, really, it takes 2 seconds. Let's go ahead and see Volkihar. I can't remember if I have an HD texturing for that yet, because I do on LE, but I haven't really gone to Volkihar yet. But let's go ahead and see. I never know what the hell the cell names are for Dawnguard, because whoever did the cell names for Dawnguard, it's just like completely different than... Oh, we got to go to Solstheim too. Then Solstheim, or the Dragonborn DLC, and the vanilla naming conventions is actually really frustrating to try and find. Like, because like something like this, right? They all have the same naming conventions. It'll be like Embershard Mine 01 or Whiterun Exterior 01, and then all of the Dawnguard ones are like DLC 1 Vampire Castle Square, and just like not anything that's actually what it's called. But we'll try. Location. Yep, so you can see, even though there should be a cell titled Volkihar, there is not. This one might actually be tough to get to. I'll try a couple of Castle. Cell, Solitude Castle. Yeah, see, there you go. DLC Vampire Castle, instead of calling it Volkihar, which is its actual name. DLC 1 Vampire Castle Exterior. Or like trying to test retextures for like the Forgotten Vale and all those. Those are really cool retextures as well, and it's like a pain in the ass. Are there texture improvements for Apocrypha? I believe so. I believe that's included in Rallies or one of those. Vampire Cat Z Cell 1. See, like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Someone needs to go in. I'll probably like clean them up myself. Ooh, it's very dark. So it looks like this. Hello. Why is this skeleton sitting down? Stop. Stop it. Stop it right now. Stop. Fine. Blah. There you go. So I don't... This looks like it might be retextured. It also might not be. I'd have to kind of go take a look. Because that doesn't look particularly high res. It doesn't look terrible. And these are, of course, edited already by Matthew. Need like a torch. Do I have a torch? I do. Need a brighter torch. That, I don't know. That doesn't look vanilla. I don't think. But I haven't spent a ton of time in the Dawnguard content. That looks like it could be vanilla. Yeah, that looks pretty vanilla to me. It's creepy in here. Of course, we don't really get to see what it looks like. Wow, that is very creepy. That music. When it's all restored. But there are mods to restore. See, this looks vanilla to me, these textures. The vanilla texture design is oftentimes really good. It's the fidelity, of course, that you run into problems with. Well, hopefully that's enough of a preview, but I'll make sure to sweep that up as well. Let's go to Apocrypha real fast, because I do believe there are texture Apocrypha cell. Oh, there you go. DLC 2, Apocrypha Origin. God, what is not in my fucking shoulder? Oh, wow. Look at that. This definitely looks retextured to me. I would bet money. Because it's a bit tiley. Wow. Of course, this is a problem, like right there, you kind of see. You get that problem with some textures, and especially with, texture mods. That's always like the joke, is that there will be very high fidelity, but they often repeat a bit. But there's really a lot of ways to disguise that, using things like moss. Maybe not in here, but it also kind of, depending, could make sense for the tile to be the same. Wow. Look at this fucking place. That is so cool. Holy shit. Ugh. It almost looks like, I mean, it's probably supposed to look like kind of tentacles. That's a really cool effect. I think that's vanilla. Blech. What do we got? Are there any mods from LE that you really want to have in SE? They're not available. Were you able to find suitable replacements? Someone asked this. Really, there haven't been. There have been mods. Most of the mods that aren't on LE or aren't on SE, sorry, have had suitable replacements. Most of them have been ported to SE or had, alternatives that I'd rather use. The biggest problem that I've had there has been with things like texture mods, but that's actually fine because in the vast majority of cases, texture mods and meshes that are only available on Legendary Edition can be made to work with Special Edition without a whole lot of effort. Good examples of those would be like the Amidian Born series. In my opinion, the absolute best, armor weapon retextures out there. Those don't have, there is not a total port that has all of them for Special Edition, but it's fairly easy to make that work for Special Edition anyway. So as far as the ones that would really be tough, things like gameplay or systems or anything of that nature, we've been pretty much in the clear. The big ones that I was, and they're like big in a sense, that I was kind of missing out on were Thieves Guild requirements and Nightingale Hall Restored, which are Thieves Guild requirements has already been ported by Cryptoper, and I know that Nightingale Hall Restored is something that she wants to look at and kind of has on her plate. And then SV Mods just got a port as well. JC says, is the alchemy cooking overhaul still planned, or did the SE move push it back? It is definitely still planned. As to whether it will make it into the initial build, it's still maybe. I'm leaning towards yes, just because it is kind of like this important low-level system that everything would kind of be built off of, so it makes the most sense to get it in there. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and in the interest of getting a playable build out in a reasonable time frame, I just can't guarantee it. But it's definitely going to go in there because, I mean, if you guys have followed my work for any period of time, you would know that pretty much anything Cryptoper makes, I'm just like, yes, please. Please give that to me. I found Alchemy Overhaul made it take ages to level Alchemy. As far as experience rates and stuff goes, that's really where we get to kind of lean on Requiem and just kind of make slight adjustments. Experience rates and how things like that work, that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoy tweaking as well, because I have a very strong vision for kind of how much I would like it to take and what kind of just what it will take to level up that stuff and how long that should take and what it will require. So that's where I kind of get a little bit more personal with it. So I'm not saying it won't take a long time or that it won't, take a lot of effort. That's for sure. But you'll know that you can blame me instead of Cryptoper or Ogre Boss and the Requiem team. Okay, let's go to Solstein. DLC 2, Raven Rock Exterior 01? No. Raven Rock Exterior? No. I know something that'll work. You go RR Retching Netch. This one I know. That's actually not correct either. The Retching Netch? There it is. After a certain point, you have a lot of these memorized. Some of them are almost memorized. Whoop. Okay. So that's, this is the tavern that I think looks really nice. So for Raven Rock, I have a couple different mods running. The retexture I think is really nice. This needs to be retextured. That's a vanilla bear rug. Weird that it's not fixed by Detailed Rugs, actually. But I guess that's kind of not their game. But I think the chitin textures look really, really nice. You can kind of see what it looks like outside. I have a couple different texture mods running here, but In addition to those, I also have like quaint Raven Rock and some population mods running. We have an improved Telmithrin as well, better Telmithrin, I believe, and I've tried to expand all of the design philosophies that we use on the mainland to Solstheim. Oh shit! Why is this happening? Oops. That's not supposed to be. Why is that happening? Oh, there we go. Here you go. This is Raven Rock. I think it looks very pretty, and I think it's been expanded in a really cool way. Feels very vanilla plus to me, which is kind of what I go for. And we've got, yes, the Raven Rock up here. There's a mod that I'm kind of playing around with that adds like a rock that actually looks like a raven up here, which I thought was cute. It doesn't use the correct textures as of right now. You'll see in a second once I pop back out to the middle of the day. I really like these ash textures. I think it looks really nice. And just generally gives you a bit more to do, you know? My kind of vision for external land masses, you could say, or like things like beyond Skyrim and all the different locations that'll be brought there. It's a little counter to what you kind of see out there right now in terms of things that like patch, say, Solstheim for Requiem. For example, like Fozar's patches, they are extremely extensive and really cool at what they do. But typically speaking, you'll see them kind of, it's like, the like Solstheim is intended for like mid to late game only. So if you come here as a low level character, there's really not a whole lot for you to do. And that's kind of antithetical to how I plan on doing things. What I prefer is more if, all these different locations have a wide range of content and wide range of things to do for characters of any level. I think that's a little bit more realistic. I think it's like how it is in Skyrim and in Requiem, where, it's, if you want to make your living in the towns where it's safe, or, do things like hunt or gather or just do stuff that reasonably would not be that dangerous, you can do that. Or you can go to some of the more esoteric, dangerous parts of the world, like, Falmer dungeons, and you can do that too. And you'll have that large variance in danger depending on how much danger you put yourself in. And that's kind of the preferred way of doing things that I like. So in theory, right, like somebody could have a character where they live out their entire days in Skyrim, or maybe they'll live out their entire days in Cyrodiil, right? And you can have like an entire character's worth of experiences in one location. Or if you want to, you can travel between them, do different parts of your character's lifespan in different locations. I want there to be meaningful reasons to travel between them. Things like, locational trade is definitely in full effect. So it's like if I go to Solstheim and get a bunch of things, and I take them back to Markarth or something, that Solstheim, those goods will be exotic luxury goods from far away, so they'll go for more money. Things of that nature are very important to me because I think they are an essential part of creating a realistic simulated world, because that's how it really would work. Let's go ahead and see if set game hour to 12. Let's just make it high noon. Here we are. This is Raven Rock. You can see all the actors waiting for me to come in the way that I was supposed to have, but I didn't do that. You can see the Raven Rock over yonder. I haven't decided if I'm going to leave that in. I think it's cute. We'll see, but there's a bunch of people, and it feels like a nice little town here. And this cool bone mold armor, of course. Nope, I'm good. Oh, and of course, we have Silt Sunrise playing in the background, which might actually be my favorite track from Morrowind. God, it is... Or is this Silt Sunrise, or is it Shed Your Travails? Who knows? Check out some Solstheim graphics. Oh, this guy, of course. Whoa, there he goes. Boom. Oh, where did he go? Did he clip through the ground? Not quite sure. That, oh, is that him over there? Oh, he just bounced hard. That is a reference to Morrowind, if any of you guys have ever played it. And of course, we have Red Mountain over yonder. Ooh. So, yep, this is Solstheim. Real ashy. It's not nearly as nice of a place to visit as it used to be. But I think a very cool... I really like Solstheim because I think it's a nice contrast to Skyrim's visuals. I think they did a really good job with adding different biomes in Skyrim, which is something that I think they struggled a bit with in Oblivion. And that's why Shivering Isles, to me, was such a welcome kind of change of pace. And I think they did a pretty good job with, you know, Solstheim versus the biomes that are available on the mainland. And man, if we get things like Beyond Skyrim in there, we're talking real variety. Anyway, wow, oh my god, it's already 2:23. See, just wildy, just wildy. The lighting looks great, and I always love that part in Morrowind. Absolutely, my friend. So let's go ahead and pop over to Tel Mithrin just for fun. Mithrin. Exterior 01, maybe? DLC 2, probably. Most of these have that tag. No? No? Tel Mithrin. Those are scenes. Here's my cell. Oh, just DLC 2, Tel Mithrin. Sidka, when you eventually get the beta out for SE, will you have an automaton feature for it? Do it the way you did for 4.0 beta. So whatever builds I release from this point onward, they will have auto installation for sure. You won't have to do anything manually, whether it's automaton or Wabbajack or whatever it is. The easiest way that we have to install it will be available to everybody. Is that correct? Did I do? All right, sweet. The goal, I mean, really the point of releasing those betas. Oh, shit. Whoops. I didn't realize I was going. Oh, hey, what's up, Neloth? All right, see ya. Float down. Here I go. Whoa. I'm going to float back up, actually, because it's really cool up there. Hazard says, I think Wildy is pronounced Wildy. Got it. Thank you. Oh, wait. Just Wildy. That is. Are you Zogramite? Do I have that correct? Jeez, look at this gross vines. That is disgusting and also awesome. Jeez, look at this. Man, Telvanni mages. Too much time on your hands. Too many daughter concubines. Effia, any thoughts on giving your character ways to improve once they reach certain caps? Like, for whatever reason, it's very easy to get to 100 alteration. You can't really improve further. Any options in that regard? It's not something, I'll be honest, I haven't thought about that a ton. You know, if it's way too easy to get to 100 alteration, then, you know, things can be kind of adjusted in that regard. But that's a little bit more Requiem systems. So I'd have to really consult with I'm really not the expert when it comes to the Requiem systems. I know a lot. I don't know as much as a lot of people. People like, you know, Applesauce or A Noob in Disguise or the, you know, Requiem team themselves. So I would probably, before making any changes myself, and plucking that very balanced kind of spider web, I would speak with them first. What's up, guy? All right, now we can go outside. I'm just going to drop. Fuck it. Blam. Ugh. God, I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing with quarantine. I've been very lucky to nab a copy of Ring Fit Adventure, for Nintendo Switch. What? Is it this thing? Ah! Stop. What's up, guy? Alright. Look, I did it. Got him. Oh, of course. I'll talk to Talvas. Let's clear up the... so here's... Oh, you know what? I might not have Better Tel Mithrin on right now. In fact, I don't, because there's like a whole dock and everything. That's one of the ones that I have disabled. Oh, well. Unfortunately. But you can see what it looks like, more or less. Wow. pretty. How about that? I really aim for that natural lighting as well. Honestly, Obsidian is just fantastic. Cathedral Weathers is really nice as well. I just personally prefer Obsidian. I think it is a little... what's the word? I just really like it a lot, you could say. But, of course, the work that the Cathedral team is doing is incredible in its own right. What else we got? Probably, let's check out Windhelm real fast. Windhelm, Origin, and then we can check out, what's the last one? Riften, and then we'll go ahead and call it. Maybe I'll go and roll around on a tennis ball, try and work out all the kinks in my muscles. Very effective, very painful as well. Gotta love that music. Yes. Whoop. Get out of this wall. Here we are in Windhelm. Windhelm is really tough, let me tell you, to find good textures for. Mostly what you'll be seeing here are Osmodeus's textures. There's not a whole lot available for Windhelm, apparently because Windhelm's meshes and just like UV mapping and stuff are just a huge pain in the ass. The author of Skyland, I was reading a comment that he made. Someone was asking him about why he hadn't tackled Windhelm the same way that he tackled a lot of the other major cities, all the other major cities. And he basically said that it was just he got like 25% of the way through working with Windhelm, and the textures themselves and how they were originally built is just such a pain in the ass that he just would rather not do it than do it in a way that he wouldn't be satisfied with. And so that's kind of what we landed with for so long. Osmodeus did kind of, make an attempt, and there's a lot of really nice textures up in here. But I know that it was not easy. Windhelm is a very difficult city to work with. Here's the Palace of the Kings, of course. We can go and check out the graveyard. Oh, here's one of the bathhouses, I think. Right? Let's see. Just Wildy, what resolution are you currently running for wall textures? Or is there even a wall texture mod? It would be whatever Osmodeus is, Wildy. I'd have to double check. See, here's our sauna, which is nice, but it's not quite a bathhouse. So what I would like to do is just kind of expand these areas with the ones that don't have an actual bathroom. I would like to throw that in there because I really like bathhouses. I think it's a very historically accurate and important bit of major cities. Nice. We have a mod running. I can't remember the name. It's like Sepulchra or something like that tries to add a little bit more detail to like gravestones and stuff. Not really the textures, but just kind of the stuff that's around them. You'll see a lot, like in Falkreath, you'll see like gravestones that have items placed on them clearly by, bereaved family members and things of that nature. It's very cool. And of course, we have the whatever this is called, I can't remember. Stone wall of names. Yikes. Yeah, that'll do it. A sword through the chest is not an easy one to get over. Of course, Candlehearth Hall, looking real nice. Just Wildy, those death bells, in love with that glow effect. Me too, Wildy. It's really, really nice. It looks especially nice in Morthal, where all those death bells are just everywhere. You get that kind of twilight time period, like around 8 o'clock at night, 6 through 8 o'clock, and it just looks absolutely magical. Of course, I think I showed this off in the other video, the special edition, but I just really like this area. I really like having this gray quarter be all chock full of dark elves having to eke out this shitty living in this cold and crappy environment. Go, huh. Hello, I'm here. God, of course, this is a Netch or a, can't remember the name. Something. Here we are. Armsman Hema. So yeah, that's Windhelm. And then we can pop over to, excuse me. Pop over to, oh, actually, you know what? Let's go check out the Palace of the Kings real fast. Then we'll, no, I'm good. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been mispronouncing that. Just Wildy. Why would I think Wildy? Guys, my brain does not work. Excuse me. Here we go. Palace of the Kings. What's up, y'all? Ugh, that name should not be that. Wow. Jarl Ulfric. Yeah, so here's the Palace of the Kings. Looks real nice. Now, let's pop over. It is Wildy. Am I pronouncing it both ways? Check this out. Oh, wow, only 40 bounty, huh? Weird, you guys seem pretty upset. Oh my god. Nah, shut up. What's up, guys? Let's see how many of you are essential. Fair bit. Don't mess with me. Sword Art Online. Riften, that's right. Let's start in the exterior. That's right, Riften is another weird one. Here's how you do that. Riften Stables. Just Wildy says, definitely looks like a palace fit for a king instead of that poor excuse of a throne in vanilla. It is true. One of the other things I really like is that the combo of palaces and Castles Enhanced plus the populated series adds a lot more criminals to jails so that they don't look quite so empty and boring. I think that's really nice. And we didn't get to show it off because it's not active right now. Excuse me, but I have there's a mod that restores what was apparently supposed to be in the game, and it was cut content. But there's a whole arena section of the Palace of Kings that you were supposed to be able to fight in, and they ended up cutting the whole thing from the game. And there's a mod that restores it, not the quest line, but just at least the area, and it looks pretty cool, and it kind of connects to the jail. So it's really just kind of nice. I would plan on kind of putting like I don't know, some sort of notice there that it's like the official notice that, you know, the arena has been closed down so people don't expect to fight there. But I thought it was a nice little bit of atmosphere, if nothing more. 81A. Bam. Wow. The Rift. Beautiful. What a place. Get out of here, Fog. Ugly. What are you guys doing? Traveling merchants or something? Who knows? Could be anything. What are you guys doing? Who? What? You waiting on something? What's going on? It's like a traveling troupe of priests or mages, or where are you guys going? What do we find? Oh, it's a wolf. Get him! Get him! Nice. Guys, look, it's a deer. Get him. Who's this person now? Oh, it's Mercurio. Hey, what's up, dude? Alright. Sipka says, what did Dylan say about religion? I had not said anything, I don't think, but if you're curious, that will mostly be handled by... What's Enai's religion mod? I know it. Don't tell me. Winter Sun. That's what it's called. With, I think, a combo. I think Hazard and I were talking about one of SNBCJ's stuff mixed in there for things that are like a bit overpowered. But yeah, I believe that was our verdict. Wow. I always like the Rift. What's up, guys? You're looking pretty gross. I'm gonna punch you. Oh, I missed. Come on. You're gonna make me pull out my sword? Fine. Sorry. Oh, what are you running now? Don't be a baby. You wanted this. Yikes. There it is. Nasty. Oh yeah, you also get this really fun effect. Was it doing it? I think it did it for a second. But enhanced blood, in addition to the enhanced blood textures, as we see here, sometimes when you kill things, they'll like twitch. Like they're gonna, you know, like, I don't know, like they're on the verge of death maybe and have just been killed. God, look at that texture. Rob says you're looking pretty gross. I'm gonna punch you. Of course. This is the rule of law here in Skyrim. Kind of miss playing a light armor character with Old Religion mod. Don't remember what it was called. We're at a higher tier. You didn't take fall damage from Kinneret. That's pretty. That actually might be Winter Sun. That's the kind of stuff that he has fun with. Enai is definitely has no shortage of ideas. That is evident in all of his mods. They're all extremely creative. God, this looks nice. You ever just get caught up walking around the world every so often? I'm gonna set the time scale to like 10 because it is a golden hour, and we won't pass it up. Rob, I gotta set up the ability for the chat bot to do quotes. I don't know how to do that. You gotta teach me all the Twitch ways. I don't know how to do anything. All right, here we go. We're gonna go to Riften, and then I think we'll call it. Hopefully, is there anything else you guys want to see while I'm here that I haven't covered already? Hope you'll add some of the quest completion bonuses from immersive blessings. Oh, hell yeah. I love that kind of stuff. I just love the idea of, it's like things like that allow you to make an impact on the world. They make the actions that you choose consequential. They give you reasons to do stuff. Just love all that kind of thing. Oh, nice and foggy. Atmospheric. Pretty in its own way. This is another thing that natively Special Edition does really well, is like these fog kind of weathers. When they're edited by Obsidian, it's even better. But there's just like these really cool kind of like pseudo god rays that you find like that. It's really nice. Oh, we can show off the new model for I'm not super keen on this kind of like concrete. I might change that back, but this shit I love. I love that. Oh, of course, Brynjolf. Not looking so hot there, my friend. Nope, I'm good. Yeah, so this is Riften. It's real pretty. Real pretty in a way, it's kind of gross. I don't know why the frame rate's tanking so hard. Probably because I'm streaming. But you got real nice texture. This was another one where I just really got specific. These are Skyland textures. I believe that is too. There's a nice mix of some other ones thrown in there. Like these wood textures I think are real nice. Here we go. Lots of NPCs running around. Lots of clutter. Lots of gross-ass laundry being strewn across the rat way. I really like it a lot. And of course, and then who's this? You're mean, Helga. She's like just banging everybody. It's pretty cool. That's her whole thing, right? In Helga's bunkhouse. So yep, there's Riften. I think it looks real nice. It's a fun place. Will you be uploading these streams to YouTube like the betas for 4.0? Yes, I will be. That is the plan. Also, it looks like I'm dropping frames again. Fantastic. I even upgraded my internet in the hopes of doing this, and it's just, our internet's just total crap right now. Because I guess everyone's kind of at home doing it, you know, using their internet. So here's Riften. What a nice place it is. And we're going to have, what is his name?